You ever find yourself bored on a long journey, thinking to yourself, gee, I wish this would just be over with? Now imagine that journey has taken over 6 months and you've had to walk most of it and cut trees along the way. Now imagine you've seen animals die, people murdered, and been starved and dehydrated for significant amounts. And as you get close to the end, it gets a whole lot worse. Well, let me help you imagine it, as this week on Cheeky Tales, I take you through the harrowing, gut-wrenching, and significantly icky tale of the Donner Party. Oh my God, we're all in the same room. We haven't recorded together since Joe Biden was in college.
Oh.
I resonate with Sleepy Joe. I feel him. I feel you. I feel you, Joe. Next time you're in Australia, come on.
Where am I? Sean, I don't think he's traveling anywhere.
We'll get you on the podcast.
I don't even think he's still alive.
Well, yeah, you think the debate was going to be your saving grace? Come on the podcast. It'll save your career. Barack will endorse you again.
Is this episode just the land-based version of your whale episode you did a little while ago?
Yes.
Okay. It is, yeah.
Okay, cool.
So basically you took the constant the constant ridicule of being a nautical themed podcast, so you decided to pick the same story and make it non-nautical themed.
Look, you can put it in those words. Yeah, sure.
What was that one? What was that episode?
That was
the whale hunting party.
Yeah, it was the real Moby Dick.
Yeah.
It means the name of the ship.
I was trying to think of the name of the ship. I can't remember.
I wish I was better at doing this podcast because I'd remember. But yeah, it is a spiritually similar episode to that one.
Nice.
Mm.
And you're doing back-to-back episodes.
I am. This doesn't happen often.
No.
Only when I do a double episode. Yep. We thought, you know what? Let's just do it. Get one recorded, get it in the bank.
Yep.
And it's nice to have all of us here.
It's nice to be back.
You were away.
Oh, yes.
And then we were all away. And then you were away.
Mm-hmm.
But we're all back.
I've been a busy bee.
And a lot has changed and not much at the same time.
Look at our beautiful new set. Oh, wait, no, we didn't get around to doing that.
It's my house.
It's your house still.
I had ideas. I was like, I'm going to get new headphones and stuff. Didn't do it.
No, he bought himself a new graphics card that cost.
We don't need to talk. We don't need to talk about what's been going on with my PC.
Yeah, bought himself a graphics card that doesn't even fit in the actual PC.
It doesn't.
But I'm still using headphones with no leatherette on them.
Let's not forget.
My microphone doesn't match anybody's. And we're using Kmart phone stands.
Look, people didn't know that.
Yeah, well, now they do.
I would like to point out we are now an entirely Pixel lineup of cameras. Google, please.
Cheeky Pixel Boys. Google sponsor us.
Can't see the camera stand.
You can't see them.
No.
But
this is not a Josh Weissman video.
If you're paying attention to my camera, it's exceptionally crisp. Thanks, boy. That's John's phone.
The newest of the phones.
Yep. Google Pixel 8 Pro.
Pro.
Go buy one. Tell them we sent you. Please. Yeah, how you boys been?
Just rocking up to JB or something. Podcast Cheeky Tales listen to told me to come buy a Pixel Pro.
Yeah.
Pixel 8 Pro.
So get out.
Who?
Yeah, old mate in England just rocks up to
Reese.
Goes to Tesco. Just like, I need a new Pixel 8 Pro.
Cheeky Tales sent me.
Cheeky Tales sent me.
You what?
You what? You're right, mate.
What about?
What you call me?
Wait, mind you, I have no idea what his native dialect is. Is he Cockney? Is he Midland?
English?
Is he Cornish? Look, their country's the size of a car park and they have 50,000 accents. So I don't understand.
Get dunked.
He called me a slaphead. So.
Yeah, and what if what's happened with that nickname in the time that we've been away, Sean?
Okay, in the time that we've been away,
what have you done?
My nickname at work is now officially Slappy in honor of me being a slaphead. And it all started with that one comment.
That was you, Reese.
That was Reese. And yeah, so now I'm Slappy Sean, Slappy_Sean on Instagram. So basically I was going to go, they started calling me Slappy Sean at the barbershop.
He's fully embraced it.
Yeah,
he's into it.
So what happened was I was at the barbershop And everyone going, old Slappy. And they kept calling me that. And I said, this is not going to stick. They're like, nah, it'll stick. I said, I tell you what, when I get back from Adelaide, if it's somehow still stuck, I'll consider changing my Instagram name. So I get to Adelaide. I go to a barbershop in a different state, in a different city. And I go there and Tim Hutton, he ended up forgetting, but he was like, crap, I was supposed to call you Slappy. I'm like, oh no, I got stitched up, didn't I? Then he texted him like, you've got to call him Slappy. I get back to work, I roll in, everyone's like, hey, Slappy's back. I'm like, oh great, this is catching on.
Sometimes you wanna go where everybody knows your name.
I go to put my first haircut into the system and my name is all of a sudden at the bottom of the page because now it's open quotations, Slappy, close quotations, Sean Turnock. So I'm now at the bottom of the page. And I said, that's fair enough.
When are we coming around to his place for Sloppy Joe's at Slappy Sean's?
Mm-hmm.
Good. That was quick, boy. That's unusual for you.
And we've been
Got him.
And we've been doing song titles. The best one so far is I Slapped the Sheriff, but I did not slap the deputy.
I slapped the sheriff.
Yeah, Slap in the Name of Love. Either Stop in the Name of Love or Pride in the Name of Love. It works for either one, so U2 or Gloria Gaynor. Sorry, Bono. Ruined it for everyone.
I'm just thinking of, this is just Squanch, but slap.
Yeah, that's exactly what it's been doing. Yeah, exactly what. Ominous Sirens. Been watching too much of The Rookie.
Oops, I slapped it again.
Oh, actually, yeah, that is something that's been going on heavy. I have watched the entirety of the show, The Rookie, since we last recorded.
Have you watched all the seasons?
Yeah. Well, that are in Australia up to season 5.
I have a device that allows you to watch further than whatever's available in Australia.
Yeah, it's 7+. It was on 7 before it was on Netflix.
Yeah.
Anyway, I've watched 5 seasons of The Rookie.
I watched them all on 7+ before they come to Netflix. Ooh,
I saw
I'm
it
a rookie
before.
hipster.
It was cool. It's all right. We got close.
I'm a Nathan Fillion fan.
So we've all watched The Rookie now.
We got to a cliffhanger, and Rachel and I got upset about running out of episodes, and we're like, oh, wait, there's 5 seasons. We thought it was only 1 season. Because we hadn't really looked into it. We'd got recommended it, and obviously it popped up on Netflix. It's really popular right now. I'm assuming this is like a first season thing. Because no one in the show had mentioned the year yet. And then later I noticed people were saying it was 2019. And so we got all stressed out that it was like the season finale and we were going to have to run out. And then we're like, wait, not only is there 10 more episodes in this season, but there's 4 more seasons after this one.
Yeah, end of season 1 sucked. End of season 2 sucked. Start of season 3 sucked.
I liked the end of season 1. I'm only just into season 2.
It's a great show.
Yeah,
I
it's very
recommend
good.
it.
How long did Cop Cuties get stuck in your head?
Cop Cuties. Which one was that one?
The Garage Band. Cop Cuties, cute and on duty.
Yeah. Arrest me. Yeah. Yeah. I purged that as soon as I could. Spoilers, he doesn't stay a rookie the whole time.
It's funny.
Yes, he does.
I'm also a Nathan Fillion fan.
I love Nathan Fillion.
I have
Nathan
never.
Fillion, come on the podcast, please.
Do you want to know something really shameful? I have
And on that, I'm going to continue my story.
Yes, please. Because
Yeah.
he doesn't exist anymore. He might
Yeah,
just
Sean. How could you have not watched Firefly?
You've never watched Firefly
I
either.
didn't say that.
I wouldn't expect it from you.
That's
You would
crazy.
expect it from me? It's both.
Being a Nathan Fillion fan,
I know,
yes.
but that's how.
Have you seen Serenity then?
Yes.
I have watched the entirety of Castle.
I haven't gone back and watched the original Firefly. I know.
It's literally the end of the season.
I know.
You've watched the end of the season without watching this.
I know. It was one of those things that I caught in the guard room at work, and I was like, "Oh, cool."
So the Donner Party. Do you guys know anything about it?
I know
Well,
about Madonna Party.
when you go and get a kebab, yeah, you get chicken.
I like a good Donner Party.
Yeah.
Okay, Russell Crowe.
Wrong hole.
Oh, you wouldn't get that reference.
No.
When he was playing Zeus in Thor: Love and Thunder, he put on a. Don't worry about it.
Did he, put on like
an
a
accent.
kebab shop owner?
He put
Yes.
on a kebab shop accent.
So instead of like he's playing the Greek god and he's gone like full wog.
So I tried to watch that movie on the plane, and then the headphone jack broke 10 minutes in, and I couldn't watch it.
Speaking of movies and accents, the topic came up the other day of what the hell was. Now, I haven't seen Deadpool vs. Wolverine yet because I haven't got
Neither
around to
have
it.
I.
Deadpool and Wolverine.
Sorry, Deadpool and Wolverine. I'm okay. I've had everything spoiled for me. It's fine. But something that isn't really a story spoiler is everyone's like, what the higgity heck is with Channing Tatum's accent?
Yeah. I've heard that too.
It's
so bad.
So I looked into it. Apparently, he was intentionally making crap up
Yeah, it's so bad.
and would just say weird ass words. But
It's
everyone's
so
like, is he
bad.
supposed to be Spanish? I'm like, no, it's Creole. They're like, Creole. I'm like, he's supposed to be from
Like,
New Orleans.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, I'm like, was it that bad that you
It's
couldn't
so
tell
bad.
he was from New Orleans?
I've seen the meme. It's like 2014. Channing Tatum.
My
goes,
name's Jeff.
My name's Jeff. And then 2024 is like, oh, I'm going to do something about name. Massive.
There's a guy that I work with now called Jeff, and every time somebody says his name, I'm like, my name's Jeff.
Oh.
And I realize that is his AA Ron. And I felt for a moment really bad for doing it. And then I did it again.
I hated that era of time
You damn messed up, AA roll.
when cringy 20-year-olds would just yell out, my name's Jeff, when they did things. I really, really
Bring
hated
it back.
I hated
What a
that.
simpler time.
That was as bad as planking. It was or owling.
My name's Jeff.
So the
So-
Donner Party.
The Donner Party.
So
Yeah.
half hour into recording, can
Yeah.
we get like the first paragraph out?
Yeah, let's do it.
We couldn't even get the bloody intro right.
Why were they doing this long trip anyway? Well, put simply, the USA was already starting its obsession with expansion. Yes, that's a fat joke. And was pushing to move west to Seattle through the Oregon and Californian territories.
Oregon Trail.
Did I just say was pushing west to Seattle?
Yep. Seattle's in the east, isn't it?
No,
it's
that's correct.
definitely
It's
in the
west.
west. But that's not what I meant. It was pushing to move west to settle the Oregon and Californian territory. Yeah, because Seattle's in Oregon, right?
No,
Washington.
Washington.
Yeah, doesn't matter. It's somewhere up there.
Portland is Oregon.
That's the one.
It is.
So is this what the Oregon Trail's based on, the game?
Yes. There were a
That's
number of reasons.
Trains?
What?
Train game? Oregon Trail?
No,
Right.
it's a it's not text based, is it? It was
It's kind of text-based. It's like a wagon simulator, and you just always end up dying of dysentery.
yeah.
Oh, yep. Text-based games.
There were a number of reasons why a family might decide to take the 6-month, 2,220 mile or 3,500 kilometer journey.
Nah, no metric system in this episode.
What the f- is a kilometer?
My name's Jeff.
Boo! Boo! That's upsetting.
with religion, economic opportunity, and manifest destiny being the big three.
Destiny Manifest or
If-
Manifest Destiny?
If you don't know what manifest destiny is,
Democracy Manifest.
oh, RIP to a
RIP.
real one.
R.I.P. and pepperonis.
Pour one out.
This man touched my... No, I'm not saying.
You know your judo well.
Yeah.
If you don't know what
you've got me in
manifest-
a headlock.
If
you
you-
know your judo well.
If you are even remotely affiliated with Australia in any way and you're unaware of Democracy Manifest, that's pretty bad. You should know and you should go back and watch it.
You know
If
that-
you are one of those people that
What
wrote...
are the charges?
Yeah, if you're one of those people that wrote on your ballot form every election, I vote for the one for the Democracy Manifest Party, also go to hell because you're ruining our political system. However, you got to go and watch that video.
you know that happened like 200 meters from my office.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, it was in
Yeah,
Chinatown.
you mentioned it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chinatown in Fortitude Valley. RIP.
Mhm.
Doesn't really exist anymore.
It's just a car park now.
Yeah. So if you don't know what manifest destiny is, it's basically the belief.
Are you saying Pave Paradise put up a parking lot?
Peter Piper picked a pick of pepper.
Did you not get that
No.
reference?
No.
Did you get it?
I did.
Okay.
If you don't know what manifest destiny is, it's basically the belief that the area known as the modern United States was destined to belong to the European settlers and that anyone on the land at that time should be displaced.
Oh,
Very European.
my God.
Anyway, it was pretty well worn. It was a pretty well worn trail at this point, known as the Oregon Trail, that the parties would travel along. And yes, it is that Oregon Trail, the one from the survival game. What am I saying?
That I mentioned earlier. Sorry.
Yes.
For the,
The one that the survival game is based on. And it wasn't too unlike the game. Roughly 10% of people that followed the Oregon Trail would die on it, giving it the grisly nickname, the nation's longest graveyard. There were many a danger on the Oregon Trail, from starvation and dehydration from lack of rations, to the wildlife, to exposure to the elements, and of course, a dysentery. It wasn't exactly a laugh crossing the continent. Wagon trains would usually consist of many individual parties that would group up together to make the trip a little less difficult through teamwork. The Donner Party would be part of the double family Donner and Reed Party. with some foreboding on the fact that there would only be one family whose name ended up in the title.
I was about to say, what happened to the Reed family?
Yes.
Sorry, cheesy.
I thought he was doing an Age of Empires impersonation.
George and Jacob Donner,
That's more annoying.
brothers. My name's Jeff.
No! Boo! I'm boycotting this podcast. I'm going to start my own podcast.
Okay.
No Jeff's allowed.
The No Jeffs podcast.
My name, not Jeff.
There, it's dead now.
It'll come back.
Time of death. 29 minutes.
Just
into the
because you want it
podcast.
to be dead doesn't mean it's dead, Sean.
That's how it works.
George and Jacob Donner, brothers, would be looking to
Jingleheimer
cash in
Schmidt.
to get some California real estate.
His name is my name too.
Tamsin Donner, George's wife, would want to open a girls' school. James Reed will be looking to escape money problems, having just declared bankruptcy and was looking for a fresh start. There would be 9 wagons in their combined party, with 32 members in total from both families. I'm sure you've seen the big old wagons that these families would use, but it's important to realise that they would mostly be filled with provisions and supplies needed for the trek, and not for the families to sit in while the animals did all the work. No, it would be just the children and occasionally women that would ride in them, with the adults spending most of their time walking the roughly 15 to 20 miles a day that it would take to get to the west coast before the snow set in across the difficult and dangerous Sierra Nevada mountains. The usual timing for the trip would see wagon trains leave Independence, Missouri in spring. What?
Where was the destination?
California.
One does not simply just walk to California.
Well,
What year is it that we're bringing up that meme? What year is it right now? Holy crap.
it is 2024.
No, it's not. It's 2003.
I hope it's not. We'd be in grade 6.
World Industries jeans.
Oh, man, do you remember that 50 cent hat you had? That thing was dope.
Yeah, it was pretty dope.
Yeah. And then my dad would be like, "Was that how much it cost?"
Yeah, Aaron's dad is the funniest man alive. Facts.
It's so good. The usual timing for the trip would see wagon trains leave Independence, Missouri in spring and finish up no later than the end of October. This would be when the snow would start to set in up in the mountains, like I said, and would make the last leg of the journey near impossible. The journey for the Donner and Reed families would begin in Springfield, Illinois, which
Springfield?
it just happens to be another story that I said I was going to do, the snakes in Springfield story.
Oh.
Turns out it's too short, so I need to find some other stories to go with it. But I have not forgotten.
Snakes in Springfield. Has that got anything to do with the monorail in Shelbyville?
No.
Huh.
I thought that it would be the episode that Whacking Day is based on. It's not.
Whacking Day is a good episode.
Yeah, it's not that story. It's just very similar.
Talking about The Simpsons for
Yes.
everyone else out there.
So, the Donner and Reed families would
The
begin...
Simpsons are from Springfield. So just,
Yes. Shelbyville forever. The
Shelbyville forever. Sorry, cheesy.
The journey the journey for the Donner and Reed families would begin in Springfield, Illinois on April 15th, and they would make it to Independence by May 12th.
just got a message.
Hey. Bit lost with your watch there.
No, I just got a message. Literally as you just mentioned his name.
Ah, yes. It's like Beetlejuice.
You can time this episode, Cheesy, so you'll know when that happened.
He doesn't know what the message was. He
And
sends
that
a lot
group and that group chat goes off so that group chat goes off so often that we have to have our phones on airplane mode when we film this.
Sean was showing me something earlier on his phone, and I think you had to clear like 8 messages from that chat as you were standing there. It was like 30 seconds. So the journey for the Donner and Reed families would begin in Springfield, Illinois on April 15th, would make it to Independence by May 12th.
Yeah, the waved off by Homer and Marge.
Yep. They would be about a week behind the majority of the wagon trains leaving for the Oregon Trail.
Not a good start. Week behind. They're gonna
Not
be
a concern this early.
Hmm?
It's very early in the trip. There'd
Yeah.
be plenty of time
I
left.
bet you it's going to come back and bite them in the
They also weren't the last ones to leave.
britches.
It might. Maybe it will. The group would make great time through the next 2 months,
Whew.
making it to a fork in the road by late June.
Use the fork.
They could either take the western route straight to Fort Hall or go southwest to Fort Bridger before swinging north again to continue along the established Oregon Trail. So essentially, they
Right,
get
so
to this.
the smart move is to take that one, but they take the other one.
So they went. At this point, it's not really that different,
Mhm.
right? You can go south of this creek. It's like a little lake. They could go south of it, or they could go north, kind of northwest. They decided to go south. While most of the wagon train decided to head along the northern route, the Reeds and Donners had received a little letter that would start to seal their fate and entice them to head south to see what might lay beyond Fort Bridger. Uh-oh, we fell for a con.
Oh.
The letter that the Donner and Reed party received was sent by Lansford Hastings, a young lawyer from Ohio. Hastings had written a book called The Emigrant's Guide to Oregon and California, in which he was attempting to persuade travelers to move to California to start a bloodless revolution to break California away from Mexico and make it its own republic. So this guy, for some reason, was like, you know what would be great if California was its own country and I ruled it. And so he was trying to get people to move there on his recommendation. So that he
NCR, baby. NCR.
hell yeah.
I mean, the California Republic flag, that's still a thing.
I'm pretty sure that's like exactly what it's based on.
Yeah, that's their actual flag.
The bear.
Yeah, that's California's real flag.
Yeah.
Not the three-headed bear.
No, it's just single.
In the letter, Hastings warned of Mexican authorities giving small groups a hard time, and more interestingly, he claimed to have discovered a better route to California than the Oregon Trail, supposedly cutting the length of the trip by 350 miles and a whole month. He claimed that the route was smooth and would avoid hostile Native American tribes. He would be waiting to guide them through it in Fort Bridger. I'm
What
sure
a nice sounding bloke.
that they heard that and went, that sounds great. You know,
Sounds awesome.
we'll save 350 miles.
Save a whole month.
Yeah.
Smooth. Smooth trail.
Sounds easy.
Yeah.
Couldn't go
And
wrong,
he's
could
gonna
it?
guide us through.
He's going to be there.
Yeah, how good. How good.
He wasn't there.
Oh.
The Donna Reed party would find this a chance to be a little sneaky and beat the rest of the wagon train to California. They would take the chance and head down to Fort Bridger to meet with Hastings. As they were on their way, a journalist called Edwin Bryant made it to Fort Bridger and started scouting the start of the Hastings cutoff route. He would find it much more rugged than Hastings has proposed, and would leave several letters for the Donna Reed party warning them of the danger. So he basically just rides up there and he's like, oh man, there's like steep cliffs and there's no roads. Like obviously there's no roads, it's the 1840s, but like there's no trails at all. This looks like it'd break wagons. Sean like started talking and hasn't said a word.
Talking with my eyes.
He's over there probably playing the Oregon Trail on a web-based
Yeah.
browser.
Dysentery again. During the trek to Fort Bridger, James Reed ran into his friend James Kleiman, who just so happened to be an explorer. James would ask Kleiman,
My name James.
my name James. It's only just occurred to me they were both called James. Anyway,
That's why I said it.
yeah, I know. James would ask Kleiman about the Hastings cutoff. And
Which James? James Reed or James?
James Reed would ask James Kleiman
Okay.
about the Hastings cutoff.
Yep.
And Kleiman would unload, saying that he knew of Lansford Hastings and that he was an absolute idiot and con man. That the Hastings cutoff was much worse than Hastings was saying and would actually take longer to traverse than the regular route. To top it all off, Hastings had never even taken the route himself.
Oh,
So even he didn't know how hard the route was.
what a dog.
Yeah, so not only is he not he's lying, he doesn't even know that he's lying.
Yeah, and he's fraudulent.
Yeah, he's just kind of gone, over there, you can go that way. Reed would hear this from Kleiman and decide that the appropriate thing to do was completely ignore this wise man and still be enticed by the wonderful tale that Hastings had spun,
Okay.
convincing the rest of the group to go with the Hastings cutoff once they got to Fort Bridger. So not the smartest of decisions.
Not a great decision. Not at all.
No. Maybe we should have listened to Kleiman. Almost immediately, the group hit rough terrain, with steep inclines and no obvious trail to follow. Though through the Wasatch Range, they had to cut their own path.
The what?
The Wasatch.
The Wasatch?
Wasatch. That's what I said.
You said Wastache.
I think you'll find in the edit that I didn't.
You missed a great one, Sean, when he was talking about the Greek Sea. What did you call it?
The Aegean.
Oh,
Yeah.
not.
And you know what's wild? I know it's Aegean.
You know that it's the Aegean Sea.
Yeah, I
That's
know.
a very common word.
You know what's even wilder?
That's a him move.
John
He was-
corrected me.
Yeah, that sounds like
Yeah.
something John would do. And you corrected him?
Yeah. He was
Oh,
like,
man.
Aegean? I'm like, what?
This is
I
upside
know
down.
my Greek.
This is upside down, Liam.
Oh, you know why he knows Greek? Bloody Thor.
Lamb of God. I
No,
mean,
Thor
God of
is
War.
not Greek.
God of War.
That's not
Yeah.
Greek.
Kratos.
No.
I never played the original one.
Thor's definitely not Greek.
God of
He's
War.
North.
The game's
Assassin's
God of
Creed,
War.
Odyssey.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, Odyssey.
Oh.
The game that none of them liked.
That was
I mean,
better
apparently
one.
the Olympics people loved it. How have we not mentioned the Olympics? It's like happening right now.
well. I thought about doing another Olympic story,
So did I.
but it's going to be over by the time the
Yeah.
episode comes out. Well, we missed it.
It's over tomorrow.
Yeah. No,
Anyway.
Sunday.
Anyway.
Look, can we just be reminded to circle back to the Olympics at the end of the episode?
Yes.
Sure.
Okay, cool.
Almost immediately, the group hit rough terrain with
Mm.
steep inclines and no obvious trail to follow.
How many wheels broke?
A lot, actually. It comes up later.
Okay.
Through the Wasatch.
Wasatch.
The Wasatch.
Through the mustache range.
Through the Mustache Range, they had to cut their own path and build their own road, slowing to just 1.5 miles a day.
Ooh, and they needed to be doing 15 a day? 10 to 15.
Yeah, 15 to 20.
What's that in rods, chains, and furlongs? Thank you.
What
can
is
you work
that
out-
in 6-inch subs?
Okay, so it's 100. Okay, no, I can do this. It's 100. It's 1,320 plus 660. So that's 1,970, 80. Yeah, 1,980. So then it would be 2,960 Subway 6-inch
6-inch.
subs.
That's not very many.
Or 12 furlongs.
How long is a furlong? That doesn't matter. It was pretty clear that Hastings had misled them.
An eighth of a mile.
Okay.
Sounds like a furlong is roughly
Or
400
480 rods.
400 6-inch subs.
Or 120 chains.
Well, an eighth of a mile is 660 feet.
Or, for all you equestrian fans out there, 1.5 miles is 2,300. Wrong. 23,760 hands. How?
It was pretty clear that Hastings had misled them, and they were exhausted after 16 days of slogging through the forest. Hastings had left notes on trees telling them which way to go, as he was travelling with a group ahead.
The trees they cut down.
Yeah, where was that note gone? So he'd left notes on the trees telling them where to go as he was travelling with a group ahead, and had told them to wait for him to ride back with a better set of directions. Though two people rode ahead to catch up with him, he would only travel half of the way back before leaving instructions on where to go. So he never even came back to help them. He just got halfway and went, oh, you know what? I can't be bothered. Went ahead. Yeah, real dick move. At this point, the party had to decide whether to take the new directions from Hastings or turn around
back.
and give up on the whole ordeal.
Just turn back.
You should just turn back,
Turn back.
right? Yeah. They're only 16 days in.
They're only 16 and a half, so they're only 24 miles in.
Yeah. Yeah. I wonder how hard it would be to turn around a wagon train. Because there was I think there was 80 wagons in this train. Yeah. Because it wasn't just the Donner and Reed family at this
they're
point.
already creating their own road, so they just create your own U-turn.
That actually makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just clear it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Emergency vehicles only.
24 miles, 192 US furlongs.
Despite now clear evidence that Hastings was a bit of a scam artist, Reed continued to push that they try the route he suggested. And so the group chose to forge on ahead. While they were chopping down trees and moving at a snail's pace, the Graves family caught up from behind them, informing the party that they were the last family to leave Missouri, and the Donna Reed party was now the last family in the train heading west, with nobody coming behind to help them if they had further trouble. By August 20th, the group could now look down from the mountains to see the Great Salt Lake Desert. That's why it's called Salt Lake City. The next obstacle they would have to traverse. As they approached, they found a tattered and torn letter from Hastings telling them they were about to have a 40-mile trek without grass or water. So one thing that they had was a bunch of oxen with them.
Mm-hmm.
Oxen need food, they need grass. They would prepare and enter the Salt Lake and immediately regretted another bad decision. The lake was blisteringly hot in the day and frigidly cold at night. If you know anything about salt flats, it's that they can get hot enough that the moisture comes up through the salt and becomes a muddy mess. Wagons got stuck to the axles, and animals started breaking free and running away. People started having hallucinations from thirst and heat. And eventually, they made it to the other side, some 80 miles and 6 days later. So they were told it was 40 miles in 2 days. It was 80 miles in 6 days.
Whew.
It would take another week to recover the animals that broke free. So they've got like cattle running around on the salt flat and they have to go out and get them. And it was now September. Despite having no faith in Hastings, they had to continue following his trails until they rejoined the traditional trail.
This would be autumn now, so we're coming into
So
winter.
they were supposed to be done by the end of October.
Yep.
So now 2 months after they had started the journey on the cutoff, and with an additional 125 miles added to their journey and taking an extra month on top. So they were supposed to take a month off and save 350 miles, and they added 125 miles and added a month. Yeah, don't take the Hastings cutoff. Just know that in Oregon Trail.
Yep, okay. Pro gamer tip from Aaron, don't take the Hastings cutoff.
That's a hot tip for a hot, fresh game. It's going from bad to worse. Yeah, it keeps getting worse. James Reed decided to start bossing people around. So this is the guy that's like, yeah, Hastings sounds like he knows what he's on about. And now he's like, I'm actually the boss here, guys. He started demanding that everyone give him a catalog of all the food and supplies they had so that he could like work out what they all had and give it out to people.
Like
and
ration it or something.
Yeah. In October, 2 wagons would get tangled up together. And when Reed intervened to break up the ensuing fight, he would end up being hit on the head with a whip handle and in retaliation, stabbed a guy to death.
Whoa!
So these 2 wagons
That's an
hit each other.
escalation.
These 2 wagons hit each other, and one of them, like I think it was the front one,
Is this
was...
the first recorded instance of road rage?
I'm sure it's not. But the guy...
Salt flat rage.
Yeah, wagon rage.
Trail rage.
My name's Jeff.
I am boycotting this episode. You were never releasing this.
The guy that got hit was Reed's hired hand.
Mm-hmm.
And so this guy was like getting mad and started hitting the oxen. And then Reed comes over. He's like, what are you doing? Why are you hitting my hocks? And then the guy's just like whacked him on the head. His wife's come in to try and get involved. She's got whacked on the head. And then he's just like, you know what? Stabs this guy right under the collarbone, kills him.
Woo.
Yeah. Reed was incredibly unpopular by this point, and US laws weren't applicable in the Mexican territory they had
Trail
entered.
rage.
Yeah. So there was a real possibility that Reed was going to be hanged despite acting in self-defense.
Hanged or hung?
Hanged.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. It sounds wrong,
It sounds wrong.
but it's
Could
correct.
be hung.
Because hanged is that's the verb, like you're going to be hanged. But then hung is what happens afterwards. He was hung or not. I don't know.
No, it's where are we? Hanged is only used for people who have been executed or killed.
Right. In the end,
So if you survive, you hung.
No, hung is specifically for something else.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it
hanged,
is.
hanged,
That pole vaulter.
hanged specifically only applies to people that were killed by execution.
That's a good one.
Yeah, so in the end, a compromise was met with Reed being expelled without his family and forced to leave without a gun the following morning. So essentially they were like, you, out. We've had enough of you.
With no provisions either.
No. Well, I think he had food and stuff, but they were like, no weapon, so you can just go, which is dangerous. One thing that happened quite a lot on the Oregon Trail was there'd be Native Americans there and they would just kill people. After this incident and all the problems that had plagued the trip, the group was starting to splinter. They lost even more oxen as they were stolen by natives, and those that they still had were starting to weaken so much that everyone now had to walk to reduce the load. So women, children, old people, everyone. They also discarded everything but the bare essentials, leaving all personal belongings behind. Charles Stanton, who had gone ahead for supplies, returned with mules and food, along with 2 native guides. The party would finally make it to present-day Reno, Nevada by late October.
Also a desert, isn't it?
Yeah. Little Las Vegas. So late October, they made it to Reno and would start to feel as though the worst was behind them as they made their way into town. Alas, wouldn't be the case. If you remember, they were supposed to complete their journey before the end of October, and they still had to cross the Sierra Nevada mountains, which, when they lay their eyes on them, already had snow setting on the top. They were told that the snow shouldn't set in mid-November, and after a gun accidentally went off and killed one of the party.
Who told them the snow wasn't going to be there? Was it Hastings?
I think it was just people in town. They were
Okay.
like, it'll be right till mid-November.
Right. So gun's gone off.
So after a gun accidentally went off and killed one of the party, for some reason that pushed them to
Alec
continue on
Baldwin
ahead.
style.
Jeez. Oh boy. They continued on ahead with little supplies and few animals. And one less guy. That was pretty rough.
He got acquitted. He's fine.
Yeah, that doesn't undead the other person.
No, it's-
Undid
yeah.
them. Unalive them.
No, it doesn't unalive them.
Yeah, that was already done. RIP.
We were digging our way out of it. You just dug us straight back in it.
Oh, look, it's pretty friggin' awful. Yeah. As they pushed ahead, they would make it to Truckee Lake by November 4th. Truckee Lake was eventually renamed Donna Lake.
Why was it called Truckee Lake?
I don't know.
Trucks didn't exist.
It was probably just like somebody's name.
Okay.
Truckee Lake ended up being renamed Donna Lake
Mhm.
by November 4th. But as snow began to fall, they would find they could go no further and could not turn around and go back. They were now stuck in the snow with very little supplies and a whole lot of trauma about to begin.
The lake was called Datsa-Shut by the Washoe people. And in 1844, the Stevens Townsend Murphy Party was the first wagon train to successfully cross the Sierra Nevada mountains. Before them, in January 1844, John C. Fremont and Kit Carson found the river, which Fremont named as Salmon Trout River for the fresh fish that were in it. Then enjoyed the company of the Paiutes in the area, as did later white people seeking to cross the pass. The wagon train named the lake Truckee Lake. With the help given them by the Paiute chief, they understood him to be calling the river and lake by the word Truckee. They left 6 wagons at the lake. They took 5 other wagons across into the Central Valley.
There you go. And that's all irrelevant because now it's called Donna Lake.
Yes. Okay. So yeah. Okay. All right. I'm just trying to picture where they are. They're going across the mountain range at the moment,
Yeah, so
Yeah,
they're,
it's
they're
in
probably
Sierra
about
Nevada.
halfway up the mountain.
and they can't turn back.
They're in like 8 feet of snow.
Yeah.
There's a photo that somebody
So-
took.
Not like the Fellowship of the Ring. Then they had to turn back and go through the mines of Moria.
No, nothing like that.
Okay.
Oh, we're not turning on one of those podcasts, are we? Because that guy's really funny.
Oh, the guy in the
On-
plane?
Yeah, the
Yeah,
guy that
love
I'm an
that guy.
aeronautical engineer and this. It's not even near as far as he's very funny.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You're kidding.
How have you not seen that?
What? I don't even have
All right.
TikTok and I've seen it.
Sean's got some stuff to share with you. So, yeah, there's some photos of there were trees that the Donner Party cut down,
Mhm.
and they went back and took photos the next year when it had thawed. And they're like 8 feet, 9 feet in the air is where the tree was cut
Oh,
off.
but that's
Because
how
that's
much
where the
snow's-
ground,
Right.
yeah, that's where the snow was.
That's crazy.
Yeah, there's a bloke just sitting on the bottom and they're like towering above him. It's crazy. So they would build makeshift shelters and settle in for what would become a harrowing few months in the mountains. They had traveled for over 6 months and were just 100 miles from their destination. If they had left a week earlier, they would have made it, and we would never know about the Donner Party. So they would have left, if they'd left 1 week
Mhm,
earlier, or
mhm.
just not taken Hastings cut off, they would have been fine.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. If they didn't. Yeah.
Yeah.
Shoulda, woulda, coulda.
So it's pretty bad at this point. They're now stuck next to this lake, and it's very clear that it's about to get very awful, and they can't go anywhere.
Mhm.
Not good. So this next section is called, "You're starting to look a lot like a burger, brother." From here, we have a lot of information thanks to the journal of Patrick Breen, one of the travelers. On November 20th, he wrote, "We have now killed most part of our cattle, having to stay here until next spring and live on poor beef without bread or salt. It snowed during the space of 8 days with little intermission after our arrival here. So it's pretty clear that it was obvious to the party that they were in real trouble. They were finding it hard to find wood for fires, and they had no traps to use to catch animals. Fishing the lake and rivers were also fruitless for them. By December, the snow was 8 feet deep, and people were starting to eat the ox hide that was used to make the roof for their shelters. And with many starting to think that their only hope was a rescue party, a group of 17 people would build homemade snowshoes and set out to attempt to make it up to Bear Valley. So Bear Valley was the one on the other side of the Sierras.
I'm just picturing this vanguard not getting through Bear Valley, because I'm assuming there's a reason why it's called Bear Valley.
Bears don't come up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
They did kill one bear.
They killed a bear, yeah.
Yeah. They
Okay,
did
cool.
kill a bear.
Eddie killed the bear.
Yes.
All right, I just assumed that this party's going to get ripped to shred by a family of hungry
Oh, look,
bears.
it doesn't turn out good for them. For one,
Mountain lions?
they became known as the Forlorn Hope Party.
The what now?
The Forlorn Hope. And within hours, 2 people had turned back due to being the only ones without snowshoes. So they started at 17, and hours in, guys were like, that's too hard.
Yeah.
Turned around, left. So they're down to 15 already. By December 21st, Stanton, the one who had returned to the party earlier with supplies, had gone snowblind and would become the first to die
Oh,
after staying at a camp they made to not slow everyone down. So he was just like huffing on a pipe, and he's like, oh, go ahead. And they found him as bones later.
snowblind. Is that just because so much
Yeah,
So
remember
bright.
white?
Remember in the Antarctic episode we talked about it's like your retinas get sunburnt
Yeah.
from just looking at the white all day?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
By December 21st, Stanton was dead. A few days later, they had no food and had started to discuss the unthinkable, cannibalism. Initially, there was talk of a duel or drawing a lottery, but eventually they settled on whoever died first gets eaten first. And then the feast was on. 4 men would die in the next few days, and all would have their flesh stripped of their bones to make supplies. Children would eat their parents, friends would eat their friends. The 2 Native
Stop
Americans.
laughing.
I'm laughing at him. It's pretty gruesome. There was a story of one dude who was there with his two daughters, and as he was dying, he was like, "Come closer," and they came in, and he's like, "Eat me when I die." And when he died, they had to eat him, and they were like, ugh, they wouldn't look at each other when they were eating bits. Like, yeah, it was super gross.
They were eating bones.
Yeah,
By
like
boiling them so many times, they became brittle and they would char them.
yeah, it doesn't get better.
Bit
The
like-
two, hey.
The Murphy family children picked apart the oxhide rug that lay in front of their fireplace and roasted it and ate it.
Mm-hmm. The 2 Native American guides were part of the group, the Forlorn Hope, and would be targeted by a man named William Foster. Someone would warn them that they were about to be killed, and they would quietly leave. Soon after, they would be hunted down by Foster and shot. And eaten, obviously. In the most European thing ever, nobody really cared about the natives that were killed, and Foster never had any consequences for his actions. It's the least Disney scene you could think of. On January 17th, the remaining 7 survivors of the initial 15 that left the camp made it to a ranch in the valley. Some 33 days after leaving, and with 8 people dead and partially or completely eaten. Things were getting worse at the camp. With the
Oh,
hides,
that's right. This is only the
yeah,
group
that's
that
just
set
the
out.
group that left. Yeah. With the hides of the oxen and horses being melted down and cooked into a gelatin goo, rats and dogs being eaten, bones being snapped to suck out the marrow and eaten, as Sean said, and eventually pine cones and tree bark being gnawed on. While some had died, notably one who had taken off his clothes and run into the forest, nobody had yet broken out the knife and fork to take a taste of their mate.
We're going streaking.
It was like the they reckon the same thing that happened to the
Yeah, I'll off pass.
yeah,
Yep.
to those guys where they got like a little bit crazy and just
Crazy.
ran out. Yeah.
Snow hysteria.
So nobody's eaten anybody at the camp yet.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
yet. The
Oh,
rescues,
So the bones and
Biggie.
stuff that they were munching on with like
that was the animal bones. Yeah,
Okay.
at this point. As it turns out, the Mexican-American War was raging, and so there was barely anyone available to go help. So like they had this big war going on, and so there was no able-bodied men available. Eventually, in early February, a team was sent to rescue those at Truckee Lake, and 7 men eventually made it to the Donner Party camp on February 18th. The scene they uncovered is best in their words. We raised a loud hello. Then we saw a woman emerge from a hole in the snow. As we approached her, several others made their appearance. They were gaunt with famine, and I never can forget the horrible, ghastly sight they presented. The first woman spoke in a hollow voice, very much agitated, and said, "Are you men from California, or are you coming from heaven?" Ugh. Like imagine these super skinny, like gaunt,
Yeah.
awfully, like they'd be gross by this point. And they're like, "Are you from California or heaven?" Like, ugh. The rescuers would hand out food. What?
Oh, just the woman comes out. Like you said, gaunt, just pale looking, just probably maybe dread starting.
Yeah.
My name, Jeff.
Yes.
I hate that.
They were the rescuers.
No. Do not approve.
You crying?
It was all in the setup. I set up this really despaired looking imagery. My name, Jeff.
If you have to explain it, it's not funny.
I don't know. It was pretty funny.
Oh, that's pretty good. So the rescuers would hand out food and start to take scope of the bodies littered around the site. 13 people were dead already. And George Donner was in bad shape. After one of the axles had snapped on their wagon on the way in, he'd gone out to chop down a tree and cut his hand.
Ooh.
It was now gangrenous, and it was very difficult for him to move his arms. Eventually, 23 people were rounded up to be taken back, with 33 people left behind to wait for a second rescue effort. They didn't leave them with supplies or anything, too, by the sounds of it. Well, I don't think they expected there'd be so many people alive.
Yeah, okay.
Or they thought they'd have more food.
Yep.
They did not reveal the fate of the forlorn hope.
Oh.
Yeah. There would be more deaths on the way back to the valley as well. So of the 23, I think only like 15 of them made it back. As you might imagine, back at the camp at Truckee Lake, the situation got no better. And they finally fell into the clutches of cannibalism. On February 26th, our journalist Breen wrote, "Mrs. Murphy said here yesterday that she thought she would commence on Milt and eat him. I don't believe that she has done so yet. It is distressing. The Donners 4 days ago told the California folks that they would commence to eat the dead people. I suppose they have done that, so ere this time." A second rescue party would make it to the Truckee Lake party on March 1st, led by none other than James Reed.
Oh.
Yeah, the man expelled for murdering another bloke with a knife.
Yep.
Turns out he'd made it over the mountains in late October, so he was actually ahead of them.
So he's probably just showed up nice and plump and healthy and
He was probably like a week ahead of them.
yeah, right.
And had spent the ensuing months worrying about those left behind.
Oh, what a good bloke.
Considering his family was there, it made sense that he would lead a rescue. So when he was expelled, his wife and daughters were just still there.
Yeah.
This group would take 17 people, leaving the rest for the third rescue team, which would be led by none other than the massive murdering dickhead William Foster, the one that shot the natives,
Oh,
and another man named Eddie that Sean mentioned earlier.
I thought you were going to say it was going to be Hastings.
No. On arriving at the camp on March 14th, the rescue team found 11 people still alive. This is the third rescue team.
Mhm.
However, they had been munching on the dead, as had come to be expected. In fact, one man, Kesselberg, had eaten Eddie's son, and so was politely told by Eddie that he would murder him if he ever saw him again. Kesselberg would be one of the 5 people that remained at the camp to wait for a 4th rescue.
Oh my goodness.
The other 4 were George and Tamsin Donner, a 4-year-old boy, and Lavinia Murphy, who was William Foster's mother-in-law. So,
Poor 4-year-old kid.
yeah, he gets left with the guy that ate some guy's kid.
Yeah.
Kesselberg seems a bit off. Yeah. On April 14th, the final rescue part, mind you, they were stuck here in November 5th.
Mm-hmm. So we're looking at 6 months now.
Yeah. On April 14th, the final rescue party would arrive and would find a truly horrible scene. They would find George Donner dead, with his head cracked open to get to the sweet, sweet brain, a kettle of human flesh, 3 frozen but uneaten ox legs, and a pan of human organs, alongside the lone survivor, who was Kesselberg. Yes. Who insisted the other 4 had died naturally. He was asked why he had left the ox legs uneaten and instead eaten human flesh, and his reply was that the humans tasted better. Ugh. Of the 87 people that left Fort Bridger, only 47 survived. Stories would start appearing.
More than 50%.
Yeah. Yep. Stories would start appearing in newspapers quickly, yet this didn't slow down the progress across the West. Gold was discovered in California shortly afterwards, which of course continued to drive growth in the West. The survivors would do little to dissuade people despite their experience. They would write to family and friends to tell them that if they had just followed the trail and didn't make dumb decisions, they would make it just fine. As previously said, nothing would happen to William Foster, who had murdered the 2 Native Americans in cold blood. Kesselberg, though, would spend the rest of his life harassed for the suspicion that he killed the remaining people in the party, and of course for his openness about loving eating people. Thankfully, Lansford Hastings wouldn't escape unscathed, facing death threats, which is not great, but less concerningly, a complete loss of his reputation as an explorer.
But nothing really official.
No.
Wasn't he a lawyer?
Yeah. Yeah, but like back in those days, being a lawyer was like, oh yeah, I read a law book.
Okay.
And there was no, like, you could be a lawyer wherever you wanted, I guess. And that is that. That's the Donner Party. Yeah. Sean kind of went a little bit deeper than I did into what was happening at the camp. But yeah, they were like melting down the stuff that they made the roof of their huts out of and eating that. They were eating shoelaces. They were eating the belt loops off their belts, off their pants.
I got down the rabbit hole and it took me in some directions that made it hard to keep up with the story because the story is important and then there's the other aspects. So I had to flicking through paragraphs pretty quickly, trying to catch back up to what Aaron was saying, because I'd be like reading something and then all of a sudden he's like a page ahead of me. I was like, my God. And it's pretty gruesome.
Yeah.
Just that 4-year-old. He gone.
Yeah. There was no mention of him again.
No.
Yeah.
He definitely got eaten.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Nice and tender.
Yeah. There was parts of Kesselberg's story.
Like a
He was
lamb.
like, oh, I was in a cabin and Tamsin Donner came in all upset. So I gave her a blanket and I said, we'll go in the morning. And then she died. It was like really, really not convincing that he didn't just bonk them all on the head.
Because obviously the camp that Donna's were at was a day's travel from where they were.
Yeah, it was 5 miles.
Yeah. So
They
Oh,
weren't.
so they weren't all like,
They weren't all
so
together.
three of them were really close together. They were separated, but they were like most of the families were close together except the Donner family or the Donner's party. They were 5 miles down the road.
yeah, I just assumed they were all like
Nah, not quite. The Donner
Yeah.
family weren't anywhere near the lake.
close. Yeah.
There was like 4, I think it was 4 distinct groups that were
groups.
still traveling together, but the Donners were at the back of the group. So when the snow hit, they were 5 miles back and they couldn't move
Mm-hmm.
because it all just dumped in one night.
Yeah,
Which is
right.
why when they did these different reliefs, they didn't get as far as the Donner party because
Yeah,
they were
okay.
another day's travel.
Yeah.
They were another day's travel, so that's why they were last.
That makes sense.
But yeah, really gruesome stuff. Yeah, there's like There's some photos of some of the people that were involved. I think not necessarily as they came out, but even later on, they kind of looked like, ugh. Yeah.
It takes a toll on you. I'm assuming it would.
Mm.
Whew.
Mm. Yeah, I think it was one of the Reed girls was writing to her cousin and was just like, oh, look, yeah, if you don't take any cutoffs, just leave at the right time. You'll be fine. It's great over here.
Yeah, just follow the trail everyone else takes.
That's,
Don't try-
yeah, that's exactly it.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't take the Hastings cut off.
Mm. Yeah.
Icky warning.
Icky warning.
Icky warning.
Yeah. Anyway, that's it. Hope you enjoyed it.
Well, that was a fascinating deep dive into just a general story I was aware of, but didn't know the details.
Mm.
Probably could have gone the rest of my life without knowing the details, but now you know, we all know. Thanks, boy. That was enlightening.
Gonna have to overcorrect next week. Do like the history of Pixar or something. Like just
There was
Well, you're not far off of it.
just because I'm enjoying the ickiness. There was a guy that fell asleep and on the
Never woke up?
No, he was in the Forlorn Hope. Well, yeah, but he was in the Forlorn Hope party, and he fell asleep and like his arm fell in the fire, and they were like, "Oh, get his arm out of the fire." They got his arm out of the fire, and then he like rolled over again and put his arm back in, and they were like,
Oh, he's
maybe
cooking it
we
himself.
just let it happen.
Yeah.
and then they ate his arm after he died.
Oh, not while he was alive.
I don't know. Well, maybe they did, but like ostensibly they ate it when he was dead.
Yeah, I was going to say, I thought you were going to say he woke up to them eating him, which sounds like the possible.
Ugh. Yeah. How do you like? He must have been dead, right? Like, how do you fall asleep and not feel your arm burning?
Mm.
Because I've had my arm bitten by a cat in my sleep, and that woke me up. And I imagine putting your arm in a fire hurts more than that.
Could have been just that cold.
Mm,
Oh, this is nice warm.
maybe. That's actually part of it too. Like how cold it must have been.
Mm.
Anyway, I'm glad that I'm in a nice warm house.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure I'll find some appropriate photos to put on the socials at Cheeky Tales Pod,
Some
Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Icky photos.
Icky photos, yeah.
I'll try and find that one of the trees so that you can see like how
Oh, yeah.
deep the snow is.
That'd be a good one.
Because that's one thing that I always forget is just how deep snow gets.
So deep.
Mm.
Speaks to your soul.
Shut up. Like, you know, in Antarctica, they have, I think it's McMurdo is the one that's on like jacks that can raise it up. So like as the snow builds up under the building, they just jack it up further and then it just builds in snows and then they jack it up again. Yeah. Anyway, John's story will be next week.
Yeah.
Well, fortnight's time.
Fortnite. Next episode.
I got one brewing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And a story as well.
Yeah, both.
Only give us one of them.
I got a couple. Yeah, I got a couple of cheeky ones in the works. Couple
Are
of cheeky
they
ones.
cheeky verse tales?
They're pretty cheeky.
He did say one was nautical.
I did say
You
one
did.
was nautical themed.
I am very excited for a nautical episode from the anti-nautical himself.
Yeah,
From the landlubber himself.
yeah. Look, it's subnautical.
Oh.
Oh, it's subnautical.
It's the
It's subnautical and it's old, which is
it's
perfect.
old. I thought you were going to say it was the thing that went down to the Titanic. Yeah, the Titan.
No,
Ugh.
that there is no period of time where that isn't too soon.
Are you sure? Because 9/11 memes are everywhere now. And that was going to be too soon forever.
It's still too soon. 9/11's just not okay.
Okay. Hot take from Sean.
Yeah, 9/11 content.
Terrorism,
Oh,
not
really?
cool.
9/11
Thanks
content.
for telling me, Sean. I was unaware for the last 23 years.
9/11 content, not okay.
9/11, not cool.
Yeah, no.
I have to check
Details.
the calendar. We might have an episode coming up 9/11.
No.
It'd be pretty close this
It would
year.
be, yeah.
No.
Cheeky Tale says, no thank you to terrorism.
Cheeky Tail says no thank you to 9/11 content.
Does someone want to check the calendar?
We've joked about it every year, John. Every year we joke. It's not happening.
We're not doing a 9/11 episode.
We're not doing a 9/11.
So 13th, 27th, the 10th. Ooh. That's 9/11 because it happened on the 10th for us.
12th for us.
Oh, yeah, because it's the 11th.
International Dateline, yeah.
I just got the American dates backwards.
So next year,
Ugh.
the episode will drop on the September 11th.
No, it won't.
Yeah, because it moves forward a day in the month. Doesn't matter. We're not doing a 9/11 themed episode. Anyway, on that not surprising comment, I think it's time we wrap up.
He's going to click forward to September 2025. No.
Anyway, it's been lovely. I hope you enjoyed this icky episode.
Oh, super icky.
John will be back with something less icky next week. Next fortnight.
Pressure's on now.
Pressure's on, yeah.
Yeah. The history of Buttercup.
The history of My Little Pony.
All right. Good night, everyone.
Good night, chiquitos.
Ta-ta.
I like that you've settled on ta-ta.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm still not sure.